playoff team. Luka Doncic, who looks like he's going to be a perennial MVP candidate, and the explosive and extremely talented Kyrie Irving that you just acquired in a trade. Now you're working that team chemistry out. So you're a 4th seed.
If you're a Hornets fan, wouldn't you love to make
moves? I know, yeah.
Man, Kyrie Irving. We can't get people like Kyrie Irving, right?
And then imagine you lose against. I'm gonna name some names. Dennis Smith Jr.
Sweet Malik,
Chuck, whatever. Yeah. Kai Jones, Nick Richards, rookie Mark Williams.
Bryce
McGowan,
who?
And the only adult on the team, Gordon Hayward.
I'm sorry, who are these people?
Yeah, I don't know these guys, but they won yesterday, right?
And your boy JT Thor.
Oh yeah, he hit some threes, yeah. And you win, what? Okay, all right. Hey, fluke win, right?
Yeah, we'll get him tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, man. Hey, it's just we still getting this team chemistry. We're gonna make the Western Conference playoffs. Right. We'll get them tomorrow at their home court. Imagine losing to James Bouknight.
Teo Maladon.
Yeah. Dennis Smith Jr. catching alley-oops
on your head.
on your dog. Yes.
It's a beautiful Sunday, man.
Great Sunday for Hornets fans. We're back under construction.
Hey, man, I feel like it's been too long.
It has been too long. It's been we had to take a break last week because I was busy coaching the robotics team at Mountain Island Charter High School.
And I was busy being hungover on Sunday, so sorry.
Not a bad place to be. But in that time, so much has happened.
We got a lot to talk about today, bro.
This is gonna be a long show, y'all.
Yeah,
so buckle in.
Strap in, get ready.
Get ready in the chat. And
invite your friends,
Let's get started. Since we talk about Hornets, let's talk about Hornets.
Let's talk about Hornets, man.
Okay, so
it's fresh.
The kid's gonna be okay. The kids are gonna be fine, right?
It looks like it. Mr. Sose, my JT slander is suspended for now, dude. It is for now.
We talked about his issue being confidence, right?
Right.
He was shooting it.
Not only shooting it, he wasn't scared of Luka.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Listen, you're not gonna stop Luka. Let's be.
Luka had 40 points.
You're not gonna stop anybody like that. But JT Thor was in his mug, man. Like I really like what I saw from JT today, man.
Yeah, and it's gonna make the decision. It's gonna make the next season decision between JT Thor and Kai Jones
very much harder.
That much more difficult because Kai Jones didn't play terribly. He played within himself. He didn't have like a great stat line.
Right.
But I felt like. He came in and gave a good account of himself.
Yeah.
In fact, boy, this offseason, regardless of where we pick, who we pick, these are the tough decisions. What are you going to do about the young guys now? Because, first of all, I feel like you got to re-sign Zvi, right?
Yeah, man. Seriously.
Right?
Seriously.
Because every team needs that guy where you can just be like, hey, get to the corner. You stay there.
But I will say this, man. Spot up shoot guy, right? But I feel like the team is like well organized when he's on the floor. He makes really good decisions. It's like he's the other adult in the room with the bench.
True.
In this case, he's starting, but you keep a guy like that around, man.
I think you keep him around. I think you certainly re-signed Dennis Smith Jr.
But to your point, now we have a good problem.
Yeah. I mean,
you got this big mix of McGowan's, Swede, Bouknight, I guess.
Maladon.
Help me out here.
Everybody, really.
Thor. I mean,
JT Thor, Kai Jones.
Like, now you got a good problem.
And then Cody Martin will be back next season.
Cody Martin will be back next season.
I think games like today accentuate the fact that the Hornets' problems this season had to do with availability, not ability.
No,
right?
No. It was Michael Jordan's
That's
fault.
True. That's right. It was Michael Jordan's fault. My bad.
Who we will talk about later.
Yeah. But if the Hornets don't have these dumb injuries, first of all, if Miles Bridges hadn't done what he did, we've talked about this before. He hadn't done what he did. Might be a different season. But early injuries to LaMelo, who we're going to talk about also in a little bit because of his brothers. But injuries to LaMelo, early injuries to Rozier, I think just really setting the Hornets back. Of course, the yearly normal injury to Gordon Hayward. I think that was more of the Hornets' problem, and it's been difficult to evaluate them for the entire season because of these injuries. So.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But something that's kind of been mentioned now that I normally don't agree with. I normally don't agree with, hey, man, let's just sit out all the vets and just play the kids the rest of the way. I normally don't get down like that because I always feel like the vets, there's this, I don't know, this continuing education. Like I want the vets mixed with the kids.
The kids got to see what the vets what they're
habits,
doing, right? Yeah,
right. They have to copy these good habits. Now, in this situation, being that we just swept the Mavericks, who are trying to make the playoffs, who have a MVP candidate type guy, and
Mavs are fully healthy. I don't know what
and have a talent like Kyrie. Those kids just came off those 2 victories. In this particular scenario, I don't mind it, man. I don't mind shutting down Kelly and Terry for the rest of the year in this particular situation. Because I like what I saw. Because one more thing before you go.
No, you're fine.
Because one thing I don't think is really good for the kids all the time is just going out there and just getting your ass kicked by 30, 40 every night. And that's kind of why I've been lukewarm to kind of just shutting the vets down. But in this scenario, I think I'm a lot more comfortable with it now.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 10 games left in the season.
Yeah.
So
7.
I was gonna say less than 10. So at this point, just we don't need to see Rozier or Kelly, especially since you're probably going to re-sign Kelly Oubre.
Yeah.
I really feel like the Hornets should. That's a lot of people don't think we should. I'm not a fan of just not re-signing vets just to let these young unproven guys. But you got a guy who can score 20 points a game,
right,
off the bench. Really,
yeah.
He probably could. I mean, he averaged like 18 off the bench. Who likes being here and doesn't mind coming off the bench.
Right.
Why wouldn't you re-sign him?
You got to. But listen, the 2 priorities are Dennis Smith Jr. and Kelly Oubre.
I agree.
Look, man, whatever happens this summer, you have to resign those guys. And as we say it all the time, it is for the culture it is important to the culture of this team that you get those two guys back.
Absolutely. So the Hornets have won 3 of their last 4, only dropping.
Who would have saw that coming? Man?
To the Pels. And that wasn't a good game for them, but after a 4-game winning streak to win 3 of their next 4, against Dallas, and Indiana is interesting.
We're really forgetting. I mean, we're fresh off this kind of high of beating the Mavericks twice in a row, and we kind of forget about that Pacers game, man. But that Pacers game was a game where they were down 16. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a similar situation. Now, Rozier and Oubre were not out, but they did have a lot of injuries, man. And they were down 16 in that game and came back and won that one. So let me ask you this, man. Where's this character coming from with this team, man? Are these kids really growing up? Like, what's your opinion on this? Because it feels like these are character wins and these are good habits growing. And this is what I want to see going into next season.
Controversial statement. I've said this before. The team or the roster is not as bad as fans want it to be. I think Mitch has drafted well. He's drafted way better than any of his predecessors.
Can't argue that.
Look at the Rich Cho era. Look at the Bickerstaff era.
Bickerstaff era, yep.
Look at all the guys. I mean, it's weird how people are like, Mitch didn't draft well. But they want all these people he drafted to play.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah, so which is it? If they sucked, you'd be like, I don't want to see them guys play.
Right,
but we want to see Kai Jones, JT Thor, James Bouknight, Teo Maladone, Bryce Mc. We want to see those guys play, right? Because we think that they might be pretty decent. So I think that the talent is there. The chemistry will come. The coaching is adequate. I'm going to say adequate.
I'll say this much, man. I mean, I'm not going to give Clifford a grade for this season because there's so many outlying factors for this season. I will say, however, in the last month or so, Steve Clifford has done a hell of a job with what he has been dealt. particularly in this last month.
Hey, man, we really royally screwed up with our coaching situation. Would you come in and, even though we fired you 2 years ago or 4 years ago, would you
sit in the midst of the fire and try to work something out here?
Please,
you know what I mean?
Like, will you do that for us
after we fired you the first time?
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, give that man a parade.
Listen, I think we might have answered my own question, because I'm asking you where this character is coming from. Maybe it starts with the coach. You know what I mean? One thing you can't say about Steve Clifford, man, is like he is a stern. He is, what's the word I'm looking for, man? You're in the military. What's the word? What's the word you military men are, man? Disciplined.
Yes.
He's not going to get too high or too low. And I think the team is kind of following suit.
Hey, don't bring up the Sacramento Kings. The Hornets have been to the playoffs 3 times since the last time the Kings been to the playoffs.
Don't do that.
Stop.
Don't do that.
Stop.
It's been 17 years.
Stop.
Stop it. If the Hornets went 17 years without going to the playoffs, just stop. Stop it.
Yeah,
no,
stop.
I'm not here for it. Nope.
Yes, I agree. Get rid of Melo, Terry, and Cody Martin. We don't need them because we beat. I agree.
Just trade them all. We good, right?
We got, yeah. We good with this lineup. Hey, they're doing something right. So we can jump to the meteor topics coming up. The Hornets have an interesting schedule to close out. Let's just go with these last 7 games.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City. That's in Oklahoma City. 4 straight home games: Chicago, Toronto, and Houston, and then they close it out on the road against Cleveland. 2 of those are playoff teams.
Right.
Well, 3. Toronto, Oklahoma City might get into the playoffs.
Ironically, they're battling Dallas.
Right. Yeah. And then Cleveland. How do you think they finish out the season?
How many games? Give me the total games.
So 7.
7.
One of those is a primetime game. Oklahoma City game is an 8:00 game.
You know what, man? I think we win 4 of those.
I agree.
I'm riding this wave right now.
I agree.
Because why not? Why not? We don't have anything to lose at this point, you know?
Yeah.
I think we win 4 of those.
I agree. I think we take Chicago. I think
we beat OKC.
I
think we struggle with Toronto.
I think we drop both those against Toronto.
I was going to say that because for some reason we can't match up with them.
Houston is interesting because they're already essentially will be locked into the number 1 or the best draft odds, or top 3 at least, right? So that'll be interesting.
You know what though? This is my thinking with Houston, man. I actually think we blow out Houston because I agree. I agree, and I don't say that much about this team. I never say we're going to blow anybody out, but I think Houston is one of those teams where they're really tanking, and they really have those bad habits that I don't want for my young guys going into next season. You know, and they got some good young talent, man. But I just think that at that point in the season, they'll pack it in. They don't really care. I think we'll play with a lot more integrity than the Rockets will at that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, I think they're just a better team than Houston is,
right.
Regardless. And the Hornets are playing with a lot of pride, for better or for worse. You know, some people are like, "Hey,
why are we winning now?"
Screw pride.
You know?
Yeah,
right.
We've seen Pulp Fiction. You know that feeling? That's pride. Pride, right? Well, hey, they're professional athletes. Yes, 4th historically is the worst spot to be. Kind of. If you're looking at the current draft, which has only been 2 drafts, this is the 3rd draft in the new system. 4th historically has been the worst spot to be because the teams that were in 4th picked 6th.
Yeah.
However, and from a standpoint of raw statistics, you have a greater chance of picking in the top 5 than you do picking out of the top 5. The worst thing about being in 4th is that you have a very small chance, 2.2% chance of picking 8th, which would be very Hornets.
That would be
like,
the most Hornets thing ever.
But I agree with Wesley. Adam Silver's going to bless us. The NBA owes us. They owe Michael Jordan. And let me scroll back up to Willie's question. Do you think Michael Jordan selling his majority ownership will improve the team? If the Hornets get a number 1 pick or top 3, that man ain't selling the team.
Wesley, thank you so much for asking that question because that is a perfect segue.
Willie asked it.
Willie, I'm sorry. Willie, thank you for asking that question. Because Hakaza, what did we say? What did we say was going to happen if Michael Jordan sells a team? Here's what's going to happen. And look, this is us being facetious. Let me be very clear about that, okay? Michael's going to sell a team. We're going to God is finally going to love Charlotte, and we're going to get Victor, right? And then we're going to have a lineup that we're like, oh my God, we got Victor, LaMelo, Miles Bridges comes back. We're going to be all excited. And then we're going to be good. And then somebody's going to be like, well, all Michael Jordan had to do was sell the team. I told you it was Michael.
Yeah, yep. See? It was Mike.
I told you it was Michael.
That's why I think Michael Jordan is waiting to see what comes out of the lottery balls.
I told somebody yesterday, don't be surprised if he doesn't sell. It wouldn't shock me if Michael doesn't sell.
Because if you get Wemby, selling is the dumbest thing.
It's not smart. It's not smart if you sell at that point.
Right, yeah.
That dude is going to triple your franchise worth.
Remember all those attendance records the Hornets set?
We back, baby.
Yeah.
The 90s.
Number one, yeah.
Back.
It's 1988 all over again, or 1992. Larry Johnson, Lonzo Mourning all over again, right? But if we get that 2% chance 8 pick, Michael sell the team to me. He'll sell the team under construction if we get the 8 pick. So let's talk about that. The last, we're selling a friend of ours, Jonathan, JG.
JG, what up, man?
Even before the news came out that Mike was going to sell the team, or was thinking about selling his majority share, rather. That last game he was at, I've never seen Michael Jordan in his life look so defeated.
If looks could tell the story, that told the entire story.
I mean, he just looks so defeated.
Right.
Like, I can't believe how bad these guys are.
and listen, ironically, I was at that game, and it made sense because that particular game, right? Everybody who's not out, like, excluding LaMelo and Cody, everybody played. And it was just a really bad effort game.
Right.
Somebody like Michael is not going to accept lack of effort. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was like he picked the worst game to be on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with all the struggles, man, and with him getting blamed for everything, like, that picture made complete sense to me. I know he was like, these cannot be the guys that work for me.
And Michael Jordan is not like most owners. He is not just the owner of the Charlotte Hornets.
He's a former guy.
Right. He's a former player. And he has all these other businesses. He's probably rarely in Charlotte, where his team that he owns is, right?
Right.
We know he's got houses all over the world. And he's got a family. He's got a wife and kids.
Right.
He's got grandkids. So, I think the rigors of owning an NBA team, he's like, I just really can't do that anymore. Yeah. And at this point, all I'm doing is just
killing myself.
Yeah. And just racking up, he's making profit. But, I think he's like, you know what? I'm just going to sell my majority share. He's not going to completely sell the team. The report was that he was going to just simply sell his majority share. Now, the interesting thing is that who he was going to sell it to, presumably, was to people who are partial owners of the Atlanta Hawks. Now, of course, they'd have to give up those shares of the Hawks, but
that doesn't excite me.
Here's why Michael Jordan was good to own the Hornets.
Hold on, what? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is why it was good for him to get the team from Bob Johnson. He's from North Carolina. He's a North Carolina native. He has the best interests of the community when it comes to owning a team, right? He cares about Charlotte because this is his home state, right? Michael Jordan is a North Carolina dude. Don't get it twisted, right? If you're from Atlanta,
you don't care.
You don't care about Charlotte.
You don't care about Charlotte.
We see what David Tepper wants the Panthers to win, but he don't give a damn about Charlotte.
Nah.
That's why he didn't build the headquarters on the old East Lamar site.
No, he bought music to Charlotte. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's responsible for bringing live music to Charlotte. Oh, thanks, Dave Tepper. We never had a concert before you got here.
Yeah, so I think that's if you're gonna sell to some people. I understand that not every most owners probably don't have the interests of the community at heart because they're not from wherever their team is. I get that. But I just feel like selling to people from Atlanta. I don't even know if those guys are from Atlanta.
I don't think they are.
But I don't know.
But the bottom line is that they're not entrenched in this community. They know nothing about this community, man. They're like crypto guys or something like that. And I don't. Unpopular opinion. I don't want Mike to sell because I feel like finally next year we're finally gonna have something to really be excited about, regardless of whether we get 14.
I'm telling you, if Michael Jordan sells the team and they're good, it won't be because Michael Jordan sold the team, and that will be lost.
Smart people know that.
The other 99%, JG, that's what they're gonna miss. They're gonna be like, the team is good because Michael Jordan sold it, because these are the same people that thought that Melo needed the keys.
I'm glad that I see this. I'm sorry to be mean, but I'm glad I see this dumb comment in the comments. So I want to address this.
From
Schiff.
Yeah, whatever his name is this week.
Right. Michael Jordan only cares about the bottom dollar in the revenue sharing. I love every time this comes up because I get to eviscerate this comment. Let me say this for the 790th time. Look
in the camera. Right, yeah.
Thank you. How does the most competitive man who ever lived, well documented by everybody who follows him, not care about his own team? Does that make any sense to you? Like, before you say that comment, I logically think about that. The most competitive, the guy who punched his damn teammates in the face for not trying hard enough, doesn't care about the $250 million investment he made on it. He doesn't care? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
You know why Michael Jordan played for the Wizards?
Really?
You know why Michael Jordan played for the Wizards?
Because he loves basketball.
Well, because remember, he was on the front office.
Right.
And he was like, they suck. I'm
gonna get out there. I can't take this.
Right, yeah. If he could do that for the Hornets, he would. Michael Jordan would suit up at 62 years old or whatever, gutting all. He'd be out there. You heard fade away.
You heard the story Steven Jackson told.
Yeah, I'm sure Michael Jordan right now probably sneaks up in practice and be killing dudes. We know. Just if he went back and told that Bobcats team, "Take my shoes off."
Right.
What do you think he's telling these guys now?
Come on now, man. And listen, man. Me being facetious aside, there's a fine line between, a very, very fine line between not caring and not giving a damn versus, I don't know, mishaps, being
I'm not
unlucky,
saying that Michael Jordan doesn't care about his money. He's a billionaire. You don't become a billionaire by not caring. Right. But I think that if that was really all he cared about, he would have sold the team a while ago. He only paid $150 million, $175 million for the team.
Right.
He became a billionaire, and now just his share of the Hornets is worth $2 billion.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Right.
So I think Michael Jordan has hung on to the team actually maybe for too long because he's competitive.
I agree.
Because he wants to. Michael Jordan. The Hornets winning a playoff series, not even a championship, just a playoff series, suddenly validates Michael Jordan, right?
Right. Because even the last time we went to the playoffs, it's funny how this works, right? The little bit, we don't go to playoffs a lot, but when we do, this Michael Jordan talk just kind of fades away. You don't really hear about it too much when we're actually decent.
They waited until
we were officially eliminated.
Until Dwayne Wade hit that shot in the fourth quarter. I love Dwayne Wade as a player. He's one of the greatest of all time. But, God, he used to kill the Hornets. They waited until that happened to suddenly say Michael Jordan's a bad owner. But it's like this was the best team that we had in a while. Who gets credit for that, right? Not Mike.
Oh, man. It's an exhausting conversation, man. It really is, dude. Because
comments. Who owns the San Antonio Spurs? Don't Google.
So, hey, if you're watching, tell us who owns. You got 5 seconds. We're waiting.
Who owns what's another
Sacramento
successful
Kings? Who owns the Sacramento Kings? Since we're high on the Sacramento Kings all of a sudden,
who owns them?
Who owns them? Listen,
owners get the credit and criticism that owners get is very odd.
Here's the thing. I hate doing this, but I gotta bring it here. I hate doing this. I hate sharing things from the 4-letter network. I do, but I gotta go here. Okay, a very popular guy from the 4-letter network who is very well respected amongst basketball circles. I'm not going to name any names. Okay, he basically made a short video, kind of examining, Michael Jordan's tenure as an owner here, right? You know what his narrative was? Michael Jordan, he hires guys that he thinks he can trust, okay? And he trusts them a little too much. This particular guy that I'm talking about is way closer to him than we'll ever be, okay? He knows this guy personally, all right? This ain't just like some bloviating. This ain't some hyperbole. This is a guy who knows what he's talking about. That is the narrative he shared. That one didn't blow up. Oh no, but Colin Cowherd shared some BS video, and that goes super viral.
Colin Cowherd has had a history of terrible takes. In fact, his whole persona
is hot takes.
Is bad takes, right?
Right.
Because he knows
Skip Bayless a 1A, 1B.
There's no consequence to having a bad take. I mean, Skip Bayless had the worst take ever. Someone literally dying on a football field. And he still has a job, right? Right. He lucky Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp is like me. Don't F with my money because I'm just saying he lucky. But those guys get to make these bad takes, and that's
and y'all continue to share and like them, man, which is crazy, man. You know what I mean? But
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't sell the team, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
I would wait it out if I were him.
Hornets get a top 5 pick. It's iffy. Top 3, I don't think he sells. Number 1 pick, obviously.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it again. You get unicorn. You cannot sell the team. That's just a bad.
Just the raw ticket sales.
Thank you.
You know how many televised games we'll get?
Now look,
whoever gets Wemby is gonna be on ESPN like 4 times.
Look, I'm just throwing this out here. This is all speculation. Nobody knows exactly why he's even thinking about selling the team. So let me be very clear about this. I'm just throwing this out there. If he decides to just sell it anyway, what is the possibility that he just, as a 60-year-old man, he just wants to go live his life? He don't need money. Michael Jordan doesn't need money, okay?
Yeah.
What's the possibility he's just like, I just want to go be with my kids who are
also, I mean, we forget, he's only selling the majority share. Right. He will still
have a stake.
He'll still retain like 40% of the team. So he's still going to make that money. That's why I said he's holding on to that 55%, which people forget. He already sold a lot of his majority share in 2018 to some, I don't even know,
the 2 guys.
Yeah, some 2 random dudes, right? So I think he's been planning this for a while.
Yeah.
So you got to think. Okay, so we don't make long-term money. Nobody in this chat makes long-term money.
Right.
We make money to live in the moment.
We survive.
We might set aside some for a retirement fund.
I come home like, man, the light's still on.
Yes. Right, yeah. You might have like a savings fund, but Michael Jordan has, and when I say long-term, I mean like 30-year money, right?
Real wealth.
Somebody, when he bought this team, the majority share back in 2008 or whenever, they had a 20-year plan.
Right.
They wasn't like, okay, let's see how we make much money. No, they had a plan. And I'm sure, okay, Mike, in year 10, we're going to sell off 30%.
Right.
And retain this. Because selling off the 30%, now you know that's how it works. So this has probably been in the works for a while. Okay, we sold off a little. Now 5 years later, now it's time to look at selling off the majority share and sell off a little bit. And then you have enough where you can just make passive money. That's how I think.
Here's another point I want to make, man. I also say this all the time, dude. When he first bought the Bobcats, right? One of the statements that stood out at me, he said, "I'm buying," and this was never going to happen. Let me be very clear about this. One of the statements that stood out was, he said, "I'm buying this team, and I know who I am, but I don't want to be the show pony for this team. Meaning, I don't want to be the main subject that everybody talks about when they talk about the Bobcats." That was never going to happen.
Nope.
So I'm bringing this back up now because if he's selling this majority share, everybody can just get him. When I mean media mainly. Media can stop talking about Jordan.
You know, no, I don't think
team. You know what I mean?
I don't think the NBA wants Michael Jordan to sell the team.
I know Adam Silver does.
No, I mean you got the greatest player of all time owns an NBA team.
Right.
You know, I mean that.
Right.
I mean, is the owner of the team, not just the part owner. I think the NBA likes that, and that's another reason I think we're gonna get the number one pick. We're gonna get Wemby, and we'll be fine.
I think we have to talk about this because there's gonna be somebody watching this or listening to this, and they're gonna bring up the fact that, man, we sucked for 25, 30 years, man. We always suck, man. And we can't argue the history. I don't even try to. I'm not even. But here's my thing. It hardly matters to where we're at now and where we could go. You understand what I'm saying? This team won 43 games last year with a young roster, okay? This particular season, we're ravaged by injuries. We're deeply affected by what Miles Bridges did, right? Anybody who follows the team really understands that.
Right, yeah.
But you should also understand that next year has the potential to be really special.
You
understand what
we
I mean?
said this on the show at the beginning of the year. Just write the year off.
Right. It's a bad year. It happens.
We said that before even all the injuries. Right. When Miles Bridges and the Kenny Atkins thing, we were just kind of like, you know what?
It's a throwaway year.
It ended up being that anyway, right?
Right.
So the Hornets are in a great position. They're gonna get, at worst, they get a top 8 pick. Now I know that would be, it would feel disastrous to pick 8th, but I mean, a top 8 pick is a good pick, right? Yeah. So clearly they're going to be more healthy next year.
Hopefully.
I mean, they
got to be, right?
From what we've seen from Mark Williams. Mark Williams.
Hey, man. Yeah, let's talk about Mark.
Hold on. There's one more point I want to make about Michael Jordan, actually. LeBron is not the greatest player of all time, Archie Berry. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, bro. I hate to. But Michael Jordan, I saw an article that touched on this, but they took it a little too far. Okay? Because that's what people do.
Of course. You got to get those clicks and likes, man.
But Michael Jordan is the only black owner in the NBA.
No. The only black owner in 4 professional sports.
In North American Major League sports.
Yeah.
The only black majority owner.
Right. And
not only that, in his tenure, because, a lot of people think that Michael Jordan hates black people. He just hangs them up from the rafters instead of banners. I'm going to get canceled for saying that, am I?
Right.
But that's how people think of Michael Jordan, right? He just hates
don't mess with my money when you ain't naked, man.
Don't mess with our non-existent money. Right. Michael Jordan hates black people. The Hornets, in Michael Jordan's tenure, have had more black executives than any other NBA any other of the 4 major North American sports, right?
Yep.
That more minorities in the front office. First ever Latino head coach in NBA history, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that Michael Jordan did in order to help diversify the NBA at the level at which it needs to be diversified, right? Because the only way that you're going to get that true diversity in the front office is to have people
who look like you.
You got to hire them. And I don't know, some people will scoff at that idea, but
it's true.
It's true.
We don't make these things.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes nowadays, right? No doubt. Matt Rule got the job because Tepper was like, he's someone I can have a beer with, right? That's how it works, right? So Michael Jordan did that. For better or for worse, for the fate of the Hornets, he did that.
Archie stopped that.
Right.
Go ahead, man.
So, when Michael Jordan leaves, that's going to leave with him.
Yeah. And that's something I don't think we're talking about that enough.
Right. Yeah.
A lot. And, coming from somebody, not saying I'm like inside the executive office, but I know a lot of those people who work over there, man. And I hate to see that part change because I'm cool with a lot of those people. And I'm not talking about the big wigs. I'm more so talking about the guys who greet the fans, who are involved with the Hornets team in some capacity, man. And that's gonna suck if that leaves along with new owners, man. So I'm to his credit, Skip Bayless
was the only person I saw in sports media make that point about Michael Jordan, about losing minority.
I gotta say this about Skip Bayless sometimes, and this is the part that frustrates me. He knows what he's doing because I think Skip Bayless is a smart guy.
And he's been doing this for 40 years, man.
He knows what he's doing. So when he comes out with the hot takey bullshit sometimes, excuse my language, that's what frustrates me. Like, his favorite tagline about Jordan is, he's the worst talent evaluator and GM of all time. Skip Bayless, you know damn well he ain't never been no GM or no talent. Stop it. And people eat this stuff up.
Of course they do.
And I'm just like, dude, it's like have some integrity, man. Like,
he derided Jordan for passing on Giannis. Everyone passed on Giannis. Stop.
Okay. Yeah. Derate the other 15 teams too. Okay. That's all. Just be fair. That's all I'm saying. We did, but 15 other guys did too.
You know, we didn't mess up. Mark Williams. Mark Williams saw Nick Richards play a game and said, "Coach, thumb is fine. Let's go.
Let's go. You're gonna start line up the next
next game. Put up 15 and 16 on them.
Hey, let me say
today the Hornets out-rebounded the Mavericks 58-36.
That's crazy, man.
By the way, Christian Wood, don't he play for the Mavericks?
Whoa.
Hold up.
Hold up. Because y'all told me.
Let me check. Let me check something real quick.
Hey, you checking real quick?
Hold up. Okay, hold on. I'm just making sure. I'm making sure because I know Hornets fans told me that we need to get Christian Wood.
Christian Wood was the savior to all of our problems 2 seasons ago, man. That's what Hornets fans told me, right? Right?
That's what I was told.
Anyway.
Where was he at today?
Hey, man. Here's my hot take for today. I got a hot take. Mark Williams is an absolute game changer on defense.
Absolutely.
That's my hot take for today. That dude is a game changer. Let me play basketball nerd for a second, man. All right? Let me be nerdy for a second. You look at the games, and the Hornets were doing a lot of switching, which I love. It's about damn time. Like, thank you, Clifford. They're doing a lot of switching. But you know why Clifford is a lot more comfortable doing it now? Because Mark Williams, he even guards the damn perimeter well. He guarded Luka Doncic well in spots. Again, you're not going to stop Doncic. Right. But he's even challenging his shots. You understand what I'm saying? He has that awareness that a lot of young players don't tend to have. He knows exactly where to be on every defensive possession. Mark Williams, again, y'all, is a game changer defensively. You heard it from me first.
He does. Now, I will say this. The Hornets do have to – that doesn't mean that we can forget playing perimeter defense. Right. Next season, we have to take the onus off of Mark Williams to play to be our defensive guy, right?
Look, you can be good, but you can't be the everything.
Right, yeah.
It can't all fall
because
on you.
Teams have exploited that. They have said, okay, we know, Mark Williams guards the paint, but that's fairly easy to exploit.
Right.
We run past their guards and then we play a 2-man game. We pull Mark out of position and then we're able to score it in the basket fairly easily. I just happened to the Hornets multiple times this season. So hopefully next season they say, hey, everyone, look at Dennis Smith Jr. Look how well he plays defense or something. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
So Jonathan JG says you don't want Mark shooting threes.
I listen. I don't think we have to worry about that right now. But even Clifford mentioned that at some point in Mark Williams' career, he is going to step out there and start shooting threes.
You gotta have. I'm not gonna say gotta.
Spacing is good to have.
You gotta keep the defense honest. Yeah. And I mean, Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like, man, we need to try for Sabonis. Shut up, Kaiser. We need Miles Turner, not Sabonis.
Hey, Sabonis is a ball.
Have y'all seen that guy play?
That dude is balling this season, man.
So, I mean,
look, man, I would go a step further, man. I really look forward to seeing what the Kings do this season, man. You know why? Kaiser? The Kings remind me a lot of us. They really do.
Yeah.
They got good pieces. They made a very savvy trade in the offseason, man. They kind of stayed the course. They didn't do anything crazy.
And the West is ripe. I'm not going to say weaker, but the West is ripe. Who you got coming out of the West?
There's no clear cut. There's no clear cut favorite.
With Kevin Durant injured.
Right.
Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, if we get Wemby, then Mark don't work on your threes, bro.
Yeah, don't
you're
worry.
good.
Just stay down there.
Yeah, you good. Yeah, you good, bro. Yeah. Boy, let's switch to the other team because by the way, congrats to Nick Richards. Get re-signed.
Yeah, dude, that is a steal.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I fired my agent.
Like you
can't give me more because I feel like on the open market
he would have got more.
He could have got more from another team. Yeah,
right.
And I don't.
That's a great dog. Listen, okay, real quick because I know we got so much to cram into this show today, but real quick, man, on Nick Richards, you signed him at $5 million a year, right? So that could because you also have to have at some point. The conversation is going to start with Kai Jones, right? Mm-hmm. Who played in favor of Nick Richards today, by the way. Just from what I hear, it was just evaluation. There was nothing Nick Richards did, okay? But at some point, that conversation is going to start with Nick Richards and Kai Jones. If that conversation does start and it comes to a head, that contract is so easily tradable.
That's true.
Somebody's going to jump on that in a heartbeat.
True.
So the Hornets have put themselves, again, in a good situation, and they have a good problem to have, basically.
So, FNZ said Nick wants to stay here permanently. Hey, more power to him.
More power to him, man. Hey, not a bad backup center to have, man.
No, I think he's grown comfortable with his role.
Yeah, and I think he's just kind of cool with whatever, you know?
Yeah, I agree. He knows he's going to get – he's going to get minutes. He won't be starting as long as Mark Williams is healthy, but he's going to get 20, 25 minutes a game, and he's going to produce. And I think Williams and Richards is an outstanding 1-2 punch to have.
Hey, man.
Yeah, a lot of teams want that. It's hard to believe that last season we were like, man, we need a damn center.
Now we got –
We was debating Mason Plumlee and Montrezl Harrell.
Right.
Then James Borrego got fired.
I know James Borrego. Someone like, man, what the hell, man? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like now?
Like, go for it.
It is what it is, man.
All right, now for the greatest team in NFL history.
All-star team, all-star coaching talents.
Yes, I don't know where to start with this because, okay, let's start with the signings.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, Adam Thielen. Panthers snatched him up. And he made the comment, a ridiculous comment. I'm excited too, but calm down.
Let's calm down a little bit.
He said, it really feels like you can win a Super Bowl here. That's what he said, end quote. Now, let's rewind. JG will remember this comment. Remember when Vince Young went to the Eagles?
I knew y'all was going to bring this
up. What'd he say?
Well, we got a super team.
It's like a dream team. Yeah.
Dream team. Thank you.
Yeah, dream team.
Yeah. Don't do it.
You jinxed us. You jinxed us, Adam.
Don't do it.
You jinxed us.
Don't do it.
But yeah, what do you think about that signing?
I think it is a decent sign. I don't think anybody should expect Adam Thielen to be like the number one guy. You know what I mean? I like Adam Thielen better as a number 2 / slot guy at this point in his career. I hate to jump ahead. I know you haven't mentioned him yet. I'm actually a little more excited about the DJ
Shark. Yeah.
Quite honestly, I think he's more fit for that role because of his speed. You know what I mean? But I think here's one thing that is very important with the Adam Thielen signing. This is very important. You know what Adam Thielen is? You know what he is? Reliable.
Sometimes you need a guy to just catch.
He's that.
Just go catch the damn ball.
He's that. I don't care how old he is. I don't care how not fast he is. He can just catch the damn ball. He knows how to get open. He can catch the ball. That is going to be of dire importance for whoever we decide to draft that quarterback. I know we're going to get to that in a second, but whoever we decide to draft the quarterback, that is going to be so important to have a guy like that, along with Hayden Hurst, who we'll talk about in a second too.
I like the move.
Yeah.
It's particularly you've said, or rather the Panthers have said, hey, we're going all in on offense now.
Yep. They were not lying.
They have gone all in on offense. Step 2.
JG will get to that. Trust me, bro.
Take one of the best running backs in the league, off a team that was just in the Super Bowl. Just grab that guy.
I mean, for nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, JG. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
After it was like, we're not going to re-sign Deontay Foreman. I was like, what?
Right.
Same. We saw Miles Sanders. Oh,
I think we're okay. We're
good. All right, never mind. My bad.
We're good. Thank you.
Yeah. That was the big surprise signing. To snatch Miles Sanders coming off a career best season in which he rushed for a little over 1,100, almost 1,200 yards.
And on a damn good Eagles offense.
Yes,
man. They were loaded, dude.
Yes,
so that even makes it more impressive.
So yeah, what else can you say about that?
What
move?
else can you say, dude? And listen, when Tepper said, "Hey, I want an offensive-minded team," he wasn't playing. But let me go a little bit further. Right? What was our main complaint? What did I say mostly during the Matt Rule era? Not just bad offense, but what? Dysfunctional.
Oh yeah,
our offense has been dysfunctional all throughout the Matt Rule era. And if I saw it, and if you saw it, and if Rodney saw it, and if everybody saw it, David Tepper saw it.
Right.
So I think what Tepper's doing is like, I want the complete opposite to what we witnessed the last 5 years. I don't want anything close to it. And he's showing and proving it, man. Look, gotta give a shout out to Fit Dog. Scott Miller. We have clowned this man for a few seasons now.
He not the GM. No, he not the GM. I don't know who the GM is.
Come on, man. Get Fit some credit.
It's almost like they said, you know what, screw Salek. Just whoever you want fit, go get.
But let's give Fitter some credit. Because there's a lot of restructuring contracts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of our veterans. Come on, man. I think that's pretty calculated in how we're getting all these free agents this summer, man, or this offseason.
Then they pick up DJ Chark from who was one season removed from a Pro Bowl appearance 2 seasons ago, and really since then it's just been injuries.
Yeah,
that if he can get healthy again, that might be maybe. Trading away DJ Moore for the number 1 pick doesn't look so bad, right?
Right. Now, I'll say this much. I do think at some point you still got to go find your stud, your number 1 guy.
Yeah.
And some would argue that whether DJ Moore was that guy is arguable, right? Even with our quarterback situation over the last 5-6 seasons. But at some point, whether it be draft or next offseason, I think at some point you still got to go say, all right, man, this is our number 1 guy, right? Meaning in the receiving core.
Speaking of receiving core, so we picked up Hayden Hurst.
A tight end who can actually catch the ball.
He can catch. Now, someone derided me in maybe it's a Facebook thread because I made a very slight comparison to Greg Olsen, because they were essentially saying that Hurst can catch, but he really can't do anything else. And I said, Greg Olsen could catch, but he really couldn't do anything else.
Right.
He could. Now, Greg Olsen was one of the best catches of football I've ever seen with my eyes. Some of the catches he used to make was like, what the hell?
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was an outstanding route runner for a tight end. He knew how to get open.
Yeah.
Greg, that's why Cam Newton loved him, because nobody else could get open, right? Greg Olsen was always open. But otherwise, Greg Olsen was a pretty average blocker. He was slow.
Yep.
Not
the most athletic.
Couldn't break. Went down as soon as you breathed on him. He went down. So I said that to say you don't need all of these extra things in order to be an elite tight end, because Greg Olsen was elite. He should be in the Hall of Fame whenever, maybe not first ballot, but he should be in there, right?
No doubt.
Hayden Hurst can catch. And you trying to tell me that they're not going to get his route running up to?
That might. No. That's probably all we need him to do.
Yes.
Because like I know, in different packages, Trimble's going to be in there anyway, in certain packages, in certain situations. And I'm fine with third down situations. You throwing Hurst out there
Hurst, his first 3 seasons with Baltimore, and Atlanta, averaged over 10 yards of reception. That's pretty good for a tight end. That means you're moving the chains every time you catch the ball.
Right. For a tight end, man. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm okay with that.
I'm cool with that. I like that signing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna tell you one that's a little bit of a head scratcher to me. I'm not even saying it's good or bad because we did sign Shy Toto from the Saints. I want you to help me out on this one. And like I said, I don't even know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just head scratching. And the reason why it's kind of a head scratcher to me is because this 3-4 defense that me and you, I think, have a lot of questions about, right? And I'm just like, where does this leave Brown? You know what I'm saying? I guess here's my question. What are the Panthers' plans for the personnel that they're acquiring and how they fit to this 3-4 defense? Am I making sense?
Yeah, the Panthers are obviously not going to tip their hand too early. And the Panthers actually, people don't remember this because it didn't really work. You know, when Ron Rivera was here, one of his last season before his last season, they experimented with the 3-4 defense
they had
because
like a hybrid defense.
Right.
Yeah,
and it just didn't work out. They didn't have the right personnel, right? So I got to think that, you know, they've publicly come out and said, okay, we're switching to a 3-4 scheme. So now, of course, every time you get a defensive player, how does he fit into that scheme?
Right.
When I heard they were making the switch, my heart really sank for Derek Brown because he was just coming to his own. I thought he had a really good season last year, and now, you know, you're straight nose tackle. You know, in a 3-4 scheme, your responsibilities are different. You're not, you know, you're really there to clog up space in the middle so that, you know, your edge rushers can get in when the pocket collapses. I just don't think that's Derek Brown.
You articulated that way better than I could have.
So I was really upset to hear that. And I'm not saying that Derek Brown can't adjust, but I just hate to see a player that was finally coming into his own have to now make a new readjustment.
Right. And, you know, but again, I think it eases a lot of my concerns if we go back to that hybrid defense, if we're just not if 3-4 is just the base defense, but we're actually a hybrid defense, that I feel a lot better about that. You know what I mean? But I still question how he's going to fit with, I can never pronounce my man's name, the D coordinator. Yeah, that guy. I question.
We're so bad.
We're so bad. I just question Derek Brown's fit in his defense, basically.
On to the next signing. This was an interesting one. Zane Gonzalez.
Yeah,
but they kept Eddie Pinheiro. Now,
little surprising.
Kind of. So Eddie Pinheiro missed the kick of the season,
right? But came back very strong.
He did not miss a kick after the Atlanta game.
Right.
Did not miss one. After he missed the 2 gimmies, which I'm going to lay the blame on DJ Moore on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, he put him in a horrible position.
You put your kicker in a bad position, right? He essentially he's got to hit a 50-yard field goal, extra point to win the game, right? That's hard for any kicker. And you know, if you got a guy that you feel is good as Zane Gonzalez, why keep Zane around? Why let Eddie Pinheiro go somewhere else and be third in the league in kicking, you know, percentage?
You know what I think, man? I think the Panthers saw that injury. It was like, man, we don't need injured kickers. Get out of here.
Yeah. You got injured practicing. First of all, if your kicker get injured because you don't get hit or not, like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
you don't play linebacker. You
play
kicker. Like, now we'll take the healthy guy.
So that was kind of surprised. I thought that was.
But all jokes aside, man, Gonzalez was on fire before he got hurt. He was a very consistent guy before he got hurt. I'm still a little shocked we didn't keep him over Pinheiro, but overall, I'm okay.
I thought Pinheiro had a good season, except for the Atlanta game in which he missed those 2 kicks. So.
I'll tell you what I'm excited about, though. This is the signing that I'm really excited about. I'm excited about the Von Bell.
Yes. Man, yeah.
Let me tell you why. Because that allows Mr. Jeremy Chin to go back to linebacker.
Yep.
You know how excited.
And maybe that's the genius behind going to a 3-4 scheme.
Right.
You put Chin over here. You put Burns over here as a linebacker. Okay.
How does that not excite you?
Okay. Now we might got something.
We got something, right?
Because, you know, Burns, he could play defensive end, right? And he can play the outside linebacker in a 3-4 as well. But I think Frank Reich and his guys said, you know what, he's versatile enough to where, and it wouldn't surprise me if they made the change to the 3-4 to benefit their best defensive player, Brian Burns.
Right, no doubt.
Because that's what you do.
You
change the offense for your quarterback, right?
Right.
Your defensive end or your pass rusher is the most. He's like the quarterback of your defense, or the most important player. You change the defense to fit him. You imagine being an offense coordinator and Brian Burns is sitting 5 to 6 yards off the line of scrimmage, and he might drop back. He might blow by your protection, your tackle.
Yeah.
You know, I think that had a lot to do with it. And yes, having Jeremy Chin on the other side of him, with Shaq Thompson in the middle, I think that could work.
Let me ask you a question, man. Are you disappointed that we didn't go after another corner? And I'm saying this mainly because of Dante Jackson's injury history and what happened, and hell, J.C. Horn's injury history for that.
Yeah, well, I gotta think the Panthers got a trick up their sleeve for this one.
I hope so.
I'm
gonna tell you who I hope that trick is.
Yeah.
Look, man, long shot, long. Because look, I'm telling you without looking at salary cap information. No inside information. Let me be very clear about that. But if I get a notification on my phone, if that ESPN thing pops up and it says Panthers signed Darius Slay, y'all plan a damn parade downtown. Even if we don't damn win.
See, man, this is what I hate about Charlotte sports. There's so much to get excited about.
Yeah, I know.
Potentially get excited about.
Potentially, yes. Let's be clear.
But
yes.
Just, I'll tell you this. I can't go through another 2016.
Nah, man.
I can't do it. I can't, and,
that was the most.
And our buddy Jonathan Goldsmith will agree with us here. Sometimes your team having a great season and losing the Super Bowl is the worst feeling.
Listen, especially after your mama died.
Yes. It is one of the worst.
Yeah.
2004, Panthers weren't even supposed to be there, right?
It was different. It was new.
Right, yeah. Right. I mean,
we were just happy to be
there, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 2016, we were supposed to win.
Yep.
And we didn't win.
Yep.
And it will always burn me. Not just that we didn't win, but because we didn't win and we had the best player on each side of the ball in the league.
Yep.
We had the best offensive player in Cam Newton and the best defensive player in Luke Kuechly, and we couldn't bring home a championship.
Right.
And we were dominant that whole season. 15-1, dabbing on folks. Cam Newton was doing front flips into the end zone, and we didn't bring it home. So I said that to say, here we go with a new team.
Getting excited.
Yep. Possibly winning the division.
Yep.
I don't know. I can't do it. I
can't do it again, bro. Can't do it again. But listen, here's where it's a little different. Now in this particular offseason where we sit right now, there is a staunch newness. Like, this is a whole new guard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
This is, you want to talk about wiping the slate
clean.
completely
This is so different than the college shit era.
It's so different, man. So I'm willing. I kind of expected. I kind of expect us to give it time. There's gonna have to be some level of patience because of the newness and because of the uncertainty. When I say uncertainty, meaning a young quarterback. Okay, so I'm quelling my expectations a bit, just a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I'm not expecting rookie quarterback to march us to some Super Bowl next season. I'm not expecting that. Now, in the next 3 or 4 seasons, we can start talking. You know what I mean? But let's kind of trust the process a bit.
Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, let's get to the topic everyone wants to talk about. By the way, real quick, the Chicago Bears are very mad at the Carolina Panthers because now all them picks that they got from us ain't gonna mean shit if we win the division.
But you got some delusional folks like, oh man, we're gonna get Marvin Harrison Jr. and
no, that's not gonna happen.
Whatever.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Okay, y'all calm down.
All right, so
here we go.
The pro days.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
Okay, so before CJ Stroud's pro day, I went back and looked at the tape.
Yep.
Because I feel like in the NFL, the eye test is way more important than it is in the NBA, right?
Completely agree.
You look who's making the plays, right?
Right.
And especially when it comes to the quarterback position, I feel like people don't rely on the eye test enough when they look at quarterbacks.
Right.
You know, they look at it. If you looked at the tape on Cam Newton in 2010 versus anybody else, it was
Right.
it was kind of clear that's the best dude. Right.
What are we doing on these measurables?
Right. Yeah. People. Yeah. That's the best guy, right?
Look, listen. Did Michael Vick need a combine in a pro day?
Exactly. No. Yeah. So the last time we had a show, I said I thought that CJ Stroud should be the pick.
We've both been on the Stroud bandwagon
exactly.
for a long time.
I said that guy should be the pick.
But I know where you're going because I'm going with the same.
I watched some film. And I said, if the Panthers don't pick Bryce Young.
Bryce Young was like, oh, y'all must have forgot. Yeah.
If the Panthers don't pick Bryce Young. But then, CJ Stroud's pro day. Now, I get it. Pro day. There's no pressure. Right. You're just throwing to guys just down the field with no, you got a script.
Right.
And they say, okay, you're going to throw all the routes, the 1 through the 9, and you're going to throw them at these distances. And CJ Stroud looked incredible, right?
He hit almost every mark.
So I get that, okay, those throws don't mean much, but CJ Stroud looks so effortless. People who make hard things look easy, those are the guys you want on your team, right? Right. Throwing a football 60 yards in the air and putting it right
where it needs to be is not an easy thing.
That's hard. There's nobody you or I know that can do that, right?
That's why they call them professional versus guys.
And the ball just comes out of his touch. Just woo.
Did you see Frank Reich's reaction to all that?
Dog.
I mean, Frank Reich looked like he discovered a new son. Right. Like, he was like, come over for dinner.
So then I thought, okay, so Bryce Young is good, but CJ Young, CJ Stroud, he's really good too, and he's got the size.
Let's talk about Bryce Young.
But
okay, let's talk about Bryce. I'll argue the other side here. Dude, the way Bryce Young processes information and the way that dude reads defenses is okay. I watched some tape too, right? It was an Alabama game. Alabama's playing. Oh God, I forget. It was some SEC school, but I can't remember, man. All right, they had Bryce Young dead to rights, right? Bryce Young scrambles almost to the back of the end zone, right, and throws off his back foot, Kaiser. 50-yard bomb down the field, dude. Pinpoint accuracy. People talk about lack of size. I'm going to counter argue. Drew Brees didn't have a lot of size.
No.
You know why I'm bringing up Drew Brees? Bryce Young reminds me a lot of Drew Brees.
And I hate the Saints, right? I despise them.
We do. Of course we hate them.
But Drew Brees is the one guy I've always respected on that team.
He was really good.
He was really good. Even when the Saints defense, he like carried them when the Saints defense was bad for a lot of years. He was going to put up 5,000 yards and make it look kind of easy.
Right.
I do feel the same way about Bryce Young, man. It's like, so, but CJ Stroud looks so good. It's like, I don't know, man. I think Bryce Young has maybe that it factor, okay?
Hey, you know what? I'm going to say something unpopular. I kind of wish we had the number 2 pick so we wouldn't have to.
It was kind of like when the Hornets had number 3 pick. It was like, well, whoever left.
Look, whoever's left, we got them, right? Right.
Well, but they don't pick.
It made our decisions very easy.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not envy the Panthers coaching staff. And here's the thing. I feel, I don't, I'm not going to say I feel for whoever doesn't get picked first because
it's not like it's a bad problem.
Right. They're going to they're going to still be millionaires and play. But it's like both of those guys deserve to be number 1 picks, right?
They really do. Yeah.
And
no doubt.
It's going to come down to whoever the Panthers coaching staff feels like fits in their system the best.
Listen, I'll say this much. I think I know who Frank Reich likes more.
Stroud.
I think he likes Stroud more.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. You've got You've so far spent the offseason collecting playmakers.
Right.
You want a playmaker as a quarterback. I'm not saying C.J. Stroud's not a playmaker because he obviously is. But Bryce Young is a playmaker. That's what he does. He reminds me of he's kind of like, if you look at guys like Patrick Mahomes, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, but he could be.
That would surprise me. It's not.
Because he's a playmaker.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is like the guy that his IQ is so off the charts, combined with his natural athleticism, he can just make plays, right?
Right.
Cam Newton was who he was because he made plays.
And listen, and that's been the tagline from Panthers management the whole offseason. We're looking for playmakers. We're looking for playmakers. So
I will agree that there's no Wemby in the NBA and the NFL draft this year. However, I feel like Bryce Young might be as close as you could get. Here's the thing. If Bryce Young was about 2 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier, no brainer.
No brainer.
No brainer.
It ain't even close.
Right. His size is the only, and I've said this before, I look at small frame quarterbacks in the NFL that are athletic. They don't last long.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Griffin III came in, got Rookie of the Year over Andrew Luck.
And fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and then took like 3 hits, and that was the end of his career.
Kyler Murray struggling in there.
Kyler Murray, yep. So, oh, man.
Here's my counter argument, though. Here's the big difference with Bryce Young and his stature. He gets the ball out so quick. You know why he gets out quick? Because his pre-snap stuff.
Yes.
He processes things so quickly. He gets the ball out quickly. Man.
See, and I think some teams feel like they can teach that.
Right.
I'm not going to say you can't, but that's one thing you don't have to teach now.
You don't have to. You definitely don't have to teach Bryce Young.
You don't have to teach Bryce Young that, right? And you got a guy who already has that ability. You can augment it, and that is probably the most important thing about an NFL quarterback and longevity.
Right.
The reason Tom Brady is the GOAT, whether you love him or you hate him, is because he might be the smartest quarterback in history. Tom Brady knows who's going to catch the ball before and they catch it.
Right.
So if you have that kind of ability, I'm not saying Bryce Young has that kind of ability now, but I could see him getting there faster than like a CJ Stroud.
No doubt.
Who really CJ Stroud's success will be more dependent on the players around him than Bryce Young.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because don't you feel like the Panthers have been building their team this offseason around whoever they're going to draft? Right? Let me go back to what I said 2 minutes ago. We want playmakers. Hayden Hurst.
I just feel like I know
DJ Chark runs a 3.
I don't think they can go wrong with either guy.
Right.
But the trajectory of the franchise and our identity is different. Two different directions.
Right.
Do you want the stoic pocket passer who is deadly accurate?
Right.
Or do you want the dynamic playmaker who's also pretty accurate? Don't get me wrong. Bryce Young, he can throw the ball.
He can
throw the ball.
Yep.
But his physical stature, I think is don't make the Steph Curry mistake. Right. Steph Curry got passed up by 7 teams.
Two back-to-back point guards before he went by.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll
never forget that one.
Because the NBA thought he was too small.
JG, don't you do it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Steph Curry couldn't even get a roster spot at his mom and dad's alma mater because they thought he was too small.
Yeah.
Now everyone's kicking themselves because he's the greatest shooter of all time. So don't make the Steph Curry mistake.
So let me ask you this, man. What do you think about Thomas Davis coming out and saying, I think the Panthers really like Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, I think that quote was taken out of context. I think he was just saying they like him. He wasn't advocating that they might like him better. I just don't think I would be shocked if you traded away all that to draft Anthony Richardson. He better be the guy.
No, let me say this. We don't advocate violence here on Under Construction at all.
We do sometimes.
I'm lying. We do sometimes. But if the Panthers pick anybody but CJ Stroud
or Bryce Young,
Better beef up security. That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm just leave it at that.
There, we might have a show.
It'll be a live one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll be a live one.
Site.
It'll be evidence used against us on our trial, on the court in our court date. You gotta draft CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. I don't want to hear about Anthony Richardson.
I don't want to hear about Will Levis either.
Oh yeah,
no.
Yeah, no. I think Anthony Richardson actually could be the next Cam Newton. I mean, he's gonna be. I think he could be good. We know how that type of quarterback works in the NFL. Right. But I just don't think that's what not what the Panthers need right now. Okay, nope. You take Stroud or you take Young, and then you tip your hat and you say, "Good day, sir." That's it. And you get right to training camp.
That's it. I cannot.
And then also in training camp, you sit Andy Dalton down.
We didn't talk about him yet.
First of all, Sam Darnold was like, dudes. He's like,
I'm not sticking around for this.
Yeah. Screw this.
Yeah, let's talk about Andy Dalton real quick, man.
Oh, man.
You know what my first thought was when we got Andy Dalton? Why not just keep Sam Darnold?
Why not just...
That was my first thought, right? That was my first thought.
To be fair, Andy Dalton had a really solid career.
And I'm right, and I don't want to. And I know I'm sounding like I'm crapping on Andy Dalton. It was just puzzling. I'm not even really coming down on.
And this sign, you know what this signing makes me think?
Huh.
We're picking CJ Stroud because
explain
because a lot of times you want to make sure that your backup can run the same offense that your starter can run. Right. He may not run it as efficiently or dynamically, but he can run it.
He can run it. Right.
What kind of player is Andy Dalton? I'm going to sit in the pocket. He's a very accurate passer. Yeah. He was very accurate in Cincinnati.
Right.
He's not super dynamic. He's efficient. That's the kind of player he is.
Right.
So that makes me think that's the kind of offense that the Panthers are going to run, right?
Right.
We got these guys that can get out in space and catch. That's our offense. CJ Stroud fits that style of play a little better than Bryce Young does, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because if you have Bryce Young as a starter, Andy Dalton's not going to be able to do the things that Bryce Young can do, right?
Right.
So there's like a massive drop-off in scheme. And I know a lot of people will say, well, Derek Anderson couldn't do what Cam Newton could do. That's true, but Derek Anderson, one, was a really good backup, and he could run the offense that Cam could run, right?
No doubt.
They just couldn't run quarterback power. Oh, that was it, you know.
Well, if it was Matt Rule, he'd try.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sam can do what Cam could do. Yeah. So
right.
So that's the Andy Dalton signing to me feels like, okay, we're going with the traditional sit back and look at the type of quarterbacks Frank Wright likes.
Yeah. Andrew
Luck, Phillip Rivers. That's who we had his good quarterbacks when he was in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton is that kind of quarterback, right?
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is that kind of quarterback.
Point taken.
I mean,
however,
yeah,
could have kept Sam for a little cheaper, man, but whatever.
Hey. No, I think Sam was like, you know what?
I've had enough.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
I'm good.
Matt Rule ruined my confidence.
I don't think Andy Dalton is a bad pickup for a backup. I mean, it's weird that him and Cam Newton started their career at the same time. They both came in the same draft. Right. And a lot of people felt like Andy Dalton was better than Cam Newton, which they were just haters.
Yeah.
But Andy Dalton had a very solid rookie season.
So speaking of Cam Newton, head scratcher. Let me say.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Cam Newton threw at Auburn's pro day because Cam Newton's younger brother goes to Auburn, and he actually asked Cam Newton to come to Auburn to throw for the pro day,
right?
Which is cool,
right?
Cam Newton took the opportunity to kind of use this as a little bit of publicity, and he didn't have a big ESPN special about it.
Right.
He just made a comment on his Instagram or whatever saying
it ain't 32 motherfuckers. It's better than
he said it ain't 32. All these teams out here signing all these randoms. And I love Cam Newton.
We do. If you're a Panthers fan,
Steve Smith is my favorite Panther of all time. Cam Newton might be 2 or 3.
I agree.
I'll say this. If you ever went to a Panthers game in the Cam Newton era, boy, you were in for a treat.
It was a treat. It sure was.
It was unlike anything I've ever seen, except maybe Ray Lewis in Baltimore.
There is no other Panther player in the history of the Panthers who brought more energy than Cam Newton did.
The Arizona game that they lost, where he came back,
right.
When he scored that touchdown, you would have thought they'd set off a nuke. So that's how much I love Cam Newton.
Yeah.
With that being said, Shannon Sharp said, plus you got to know, the media, they already don't like Cam Newton.
Right.
So they took the opportunity to descend upon him.
Pile on.
The thing is, some of them were right.
Kind of like another Charlotte figure who gets to pile on a lot.
Yeah, we won't mention his name.
Go ahead.
They made good points. Some of them were right.
Right.
Shannon Sharp said, Cam, you are one of those randoms. That's how, or rather, that's how NFL teams see you.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Which is true.
Right.
I think NFL teams look at Cam Newton and they think, he's used goods.
Yeah.
He's shot.
Right.
Right? His shoulder has never been the same since TJ Watt illegally speared it with his helmet. That was illegal. That was an illegal hit. He's never been the same.
Yeah.
So plus Cam Newton comes to your team and is a backup. He's running the team, right?
You can't have that dominant personality be the
no.
backup. Can't do it.
But you trying to tell me Baker Mayfield better than Cam Newton? You trying to tell me Sam Darnold? I seen Sam Darnold play, y'all.
Oh boy, Baker Mayfield.
You trying to tell me PJ Walker is better than Cam Newton? Man. You trying to tell me that right now?
Can't lie to me, bro. Speaking of eye test, the eye test showed me that Baker Mayfield damn sure ain't better than Cam Newton.
Now, I know that pro day, like we said, you're throwing
to nobody. Basically, you're throwing without a defense.
Cam still put it on a rope from 70 yards in the air. He still got something, right? Is it 32 guys better than Cam Newton?
The 32 guys, there are not 32 guys who are currently employed as quarterbacks in the NFL that are better than Cam Newton. I agree with that statement. I totally agree with that statement. However, the question marks keep coming up about the shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a serious question mark, and it's valid. If I'm an NFL owner, GM, that is a question I'm going to ask every single time.
Right.
What's going on with your shoulder? And at this point, from the outside looking in, I'm looking at Cam as like a situational type of guy, kind of like his role when he came back to the Panthers in the beginning. He was that third down threat guy, wasn't in the whole game. And if I'm Cam Newton, do I accept that as my role at this point? Do I accept the fact that I'm probably not full-time starter Cam Newton anymore? Do I accept that? Does my personality, and I use this and I'm not saying this in a negative way, does my personality and my ego accept maybe I am situational backup guy at this point in my career? If the answer is no, hey man, right off into the sunset. It's been a great career, man.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong.
Cam Newton's in a good place. Financially, he's got a lot of money. He's got businesses.
Successful podcast that people pay attention to.
He's got, he's got a family now. But Cam Newton, of all people, should understand that sometimes you got to take one step back to make two steps forward. He's done that before. He did that in college after what happened in Florida.
And listen, I'm going to cut you off. But we say this all the time, man. At no point has this guy ever gotten the opportunity to go through a full training camp and be acclimated with whatever. He hasn't gotten that opportunity since New England.
And we forget that one season in New England,
he balled out of control.
He balled until he got COVID.
Until COVID. Right.
We remember the game against Seattle, right? Like he looked like the old Cam Newton. Then he gets COVID the very next week. And it took, we've seen with a lot of major professional athletes, they get COVID. It takes a while for them to get back to where they were. Right.
So with all that being said, man, I mean, if I'm some scrub team that's not going anywhere next season, like Atlanta, why would I not take a chance on?
Why? Yeah, you sign Cam to the Falcons. You sit him on the bench. The fans are going to be clamoring for him to get time, and whoever their quarterback ends up being next year is on a short leash, right?
Right.
Because he got Cam Newton. And if you thought Cam Newton in Charlotte could get a crowd hype, Imagine him in his hometown, the team that he cheered for as a kid. They still love Cam Newton in Atlanta, even though they hated him when he was killing them every year. But Cam Newton he's a celebrity in Atlanta. You know, that's where he spends most of his time now. Yeah, I just don't.
You mean to tell me a team like the Texans who are going to draft, you know, whoever the second guy is?
I don't think that's a good look for them. Because imagine, you're the number 2 pick,
Scratch that, yeah.
You already got a ton of pressure,
and
then you got
you got
6'6", 250 standing over there,
MVP guy,
right? Yeah,
scratch that.
So, there are a lot of teams. I get what Cam was saying. There are random. They're like dudes. Andy Dalton. Right. You think Is Andy Dalton really better than Cam Newton at this point in their career?
I don't care who you name after that. You provided no better example than Baker
Mayfield.
If I'm Cam Newton, I'm looking at Baker Mayfield probably getting a starting job with Tampa Bay. Are you serious?
I saw what Baker Mayfield did with the Panthers, and then he had 2 good games with the Rams, and now he's starting at the end of the Tom Brady era.
Yeah, Hey, I can't look at that. I can't blame Cam Newton for feeling the way he feels if that's the case. So
I see both points of the argument, though. If I'm Cam, though, I do what I always do, and I just prove the world wrong. That's what he's got to do.
That's what you got to do.
So,
but you probably gonna have to eat some humble pie to do it.
You're gonna have to, because that's the way the league.
Use him.
The league is. So.
Yep.
Oh, that's a lot of.
That's a lot.
Panthers and Hornets stuff.
My brain is kind of.
I feel. Is there something we forgot, fans?
Let us know.
Something we forgot.
We gave y'all a whole lot today, man.
Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to talk about Charlotte FC.
Not much to talk about because I can't watch them.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Come on, y'all got to do better.
Do better, man.
Do better.
So I saw somebody made a comment in one of the Facebook groups. Well, they got to make up for the lost revenue. What lost revenue? Every damn game is sold out.
I do think, though, however, there may be an idea that people having the ability to watch the game will prevent them from having to go to the game.
Not in Charlotte.
But I don't think that's the case in Charlotte. Plus, we're talking about MLS here. You only got half the stadium open, right?
Right.
You trying to tell me you can't get 20,000 soccer fans in Charlotte on an expansion team? You know, we're talking about their very first game. They had 70,000 people there. Come on, man.
Right.
Let people watch the joint on TV, right?
Because I'm not giving Apple TV another download.
Right. This isn't the 90s, right? Where a lot of people forget that in the 90s, you could not watch home games on TV because they wanted you to go to the game.
Right.
We don't do that anymore. So do better, Charlotte FC.
Do better, Charlotte.
David Tepper, do something.
Buy a network like Bob Johnson tried to do. or not.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, why don't the Hornets just do their own broadcasting network? You will lose money. You know how I know you'll lose money? Because Bally is going bankrupt. Right. It is very difficult to maintain an entire network.
Because you're basically hedging your entire network on one brand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, if you get Wemby,
you don't have to worry about
now. Maybe you should buy a network.
He's working,
right? Yeah, exactly. It's like Wemby 24/7, and people will watch it, right? I'd be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, I'm watching the Wemby channel. Just all day. So, oh boy, shout outs.
Yeah, I do have a shout out.
Okay,
let me flip my collar real quick, man. Trying not to get too excited, man, but I just want to shout out the illustrious UConn Huskies. We are on the precipice of winning our 5th national title in the last 24 years. Again, trying not to get excited. I would like to tell everybody that the UConn Huskies have beat their opponents by an average of 23.5 points a game in the NCAA tournament. I got 3 words, y'all. Finish the job. Shout out to UConn.
That's why they won't win. Dominant teams in the tournament always. I'm just telling historically.
I probably did just jinx it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so,
Oh well. But hey, no, it's amazing what happens when James Booknight is not on your team and he's not at the game. He's not at the game starting fights.
James Booknight, do not bring your ass to the game. If we make it to the title next Monday, stay your ass in Charlotte.
Yes. Clifford, give that man some playing time.
So he'll wear himself out. No.
Yeah, so we don't come. Yeah,
we'll need JB at the game next Monday if we make it, man. So shout out to you, man. One more.
Yeah, of course.
Shout out to the Epicenter, who looks like they're finally.
Wow, yeah, it looks
making some plans to actually open up and change some things in there too.
It looks. So. I like what they're doing. Actually, I'm kind of surprised. I was ready to hate on it, but
can't front. I really like the ideas that they have, man.
They'll find some way to mess it up. Prepare for dress codes.
Prepare for another brewery in there somewhere.
Yeah. Do I have any shout out? Rappers. Go back to rapping and not getting beat up at LA Fitness like a dog. Tekashi 6ix9ine was in LA Fitness in the sauna and some dudes just ran in there and beat the hell out of him and left.
Okay.
Remember when rappers rapped?
When you actually talked about how they could rap instead of other stuff.
Yeah, when they made music.
I can't name a Tekashi 6ix9ine song. I can't name one Tekashi song.
He had a song with Nicki Minaj that wasn't good. That's all I know.
Well, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know any songs, man. How come dudes can't go find, you know what? Let me not start that conversation. Why do we use our toughness for punks? There's some real people y'all need to go find and beat up.
Yes. Well, because they know he's an easy mark.
Right.
The dude got Skittles for teeth. We fighting just because, right? You're not scared of Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, George Zimmerman just walking around like
George Zimmerman walking around freely. Willie Smith said he thinks that's a Jussie Smollett. Yeah.
I mean, you can't put it past somebody like that, you know?
And the hospital pictures, he didn't look that beat up, right?
Probably took a bag of nickels.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what?
Hey, that's
okay.
I subscribe to that theory.
Yes, I'll support that theory. Yeah, just because I don't give a shit about Tekashi 6ix9ine anyway. Is there any new music out? Oh, props to De La Soul, by the way, because in the time that the last show we did, you know, Dave from De La Soul passed away.
R.P. Dave.
Yeah, and like 3 days later, De La Soul was finally able to release their music on online streaming services because they had been fighting for the rights to their music for the past almost 40 years, 30 plus years, and they were able to get the rights. They had an outstanding performance on the Jimmy Fallon.
It was
that was so good. Watch that video.
Go watch that video of De La Soul and Jimmy Fallon.
And with Black Thought doing Dave's verse from Stakes is High, man.
Awesome,
it was
it
was very emotional, very good.
No doubt.
Props to De La Soul and Jamal's the biggest Tribe fan I know, and I'm always teasing him like De La Soul is better than Tribe. But they were really like parallel, like they were different but parallel paths. I've always felt like Tribe and De La Soul were like, they were both part of the Native Tongues movement.
Yeah.
And they had the same end goal, but they just went about it differently. Yeah. So I'm glad De La Soul is finally getting the props that they deserve.
No doubt, man. And it's so bittersweet.
It is.
It's so bittersweet that a new audience, a lot of is being introduced to De La Soul because of a tragedy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just real quickly, just kind of want to share what they meant to kids like me, and I'll include you in this too, man. When we being old men now, when we came up in the 90s, man, like rappers were rappers and they looked like rappers, right?
Right.
And everybody had the gold chain and everybody had the Adidas sweatsuit and you look intimidating, you know what I mean? De La Soul was they were anti-rapper.
They were.
You know what I mean?
Stakes is High was so ahead of its time. I'm sick of rappers. I'm talking about Blunt. Sick of talking about Versace glasses. It's a half-ass award show. Sick of name brand clothes. Sick of R&B bitches over bullshit. Crack, cocaine, and crack just brings sickness to blacks. Sick of swole head rappers with they sick in their rap. I mean, this was like 95. They were rapping about this, right? Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
However, they made regular cool.
Right.
They look like guys you hung out with.
The whole song, Me, Myself, and I, is about that.
It's about that.
Like, hey, I'm just
Right.
I'm just me.
The video breaking down is just walking around in the desert with regular old clothes on, and it made it look dope, man. So Dave was such a big part of my childhood. De La Soul was such a big part of my childhood, man. And it's so bittersweet for them to be getting the love that they're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Props to them.
Man.
That's all I got for this week. And I know when the show ends, I'm gonna be like, damn, we forgot to talk about.
Right, I know. I mean, we had a lot today, man.
Did any Hornets go to jail?
Oh, no, but Kyrie got some guy kicked out of the game.
Yes,
today.
Shout out to all NBA players doing that now, snitching to the refs to get players kicked out of the game, or fans kicked out of the game.
And let me tell you something. I didn't want to put this out there because I don't know how true it is, but apparently somebody at the game was saying that the guy was basically calling Kyrie and called him a bitch, and Kyrie. And I'm like, that was it?
That's what we kicking fans out for?
I thought the guy might have crossed the line, and I was going to be okay with that. But really?
I'm telling you, when I don't completely subscribe to the idea that players from this era couldn't play in the 90s. But I do think
we were a little tougher.
They were a little tougher back then. Because I think about one of the things that made the NBA great was that level of fan interaction. Spike Lee in the playoffs against the Indiana Pacers, that back and forth between him and Reggie Miller is just as iconic as the game itself.
It's legendary.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll never get that nowadays because imagine if one of the Knicks players had went over to the ref, or one of the Pacers players went up to the ref. Hey, man, Spike Lee.
You kick Spike
Lee.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine woo. Come on now.
Come on. Stop. I agree. There is a line.
Oh, well, I got to shout at. Oh, oh, God, how could I forget this? Shout at Hornets fans. Yeah, damn it, I said it. Where the hell did Dallas Mavericks fans come from? Are y'all serious right now? Why the hell? I know the answer to this question is whatever. Why does this damn fan base have to be so accommodating all the damn time? Luka Doncic signing autographs before the game. Kyrie Irving getting damn Hornets fan kicked out of Spectrum Arena. I am sick and tired of this damn fan base being so accommodating. Start punching people in the face. Make me feel better about being a Charlotte sports fan. Yeah, I know we suck this season, but have some damn passion.
Watch, if Wemby goes to like Houston or Detroit, when they play here,
oh my God,
you're gonna see a million Detroit jerseys.
I was a Rockets fan when the Legend was here, man. Yeah,
man, Kenny Smith, my favorite player.
Man, you remember when Vernon Maxwell played for me?
Wemby jersey on.
Anyway, let's get out of here. I'm going to see Red, man.
Yeah. Hey, y'all have a good one, man.
Have a good week, man. We'll be back.
Talk to y'all next week. Peace.